Hello parents. I apologize for not being able to be there with you on back to school night, but I wanted to make sure that you got all the same information that I would have been presenting on back to school night. This is for the geometry class, that hopefully that is the class that your student is signed up for. And so first off, I'll just tell you that students can expect to get homework almost every night. It is both on School Loop on the calendar, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Also, it's posted on the board every day when students come in. If they come home and they say, you know, I didn't have any homework that day, it's possible, but you can check up on that. On School Loop, you can see exactly what their assignment is. Also, if they come home and they say, you know, we had homework, but we had class time to finish it, there's a good chance that that's true, because there will certainly be days when we'll have time at the end of the period, students get started on the homework. Now, if that's true on a regular basis, if that's always happening, then you may want to double check, take a look at their homework and make sure that they've done it. Or you can go on, again, on School Loop, you can see what was assigned each day, so you can see what's expected of them. You could also go on School Loop and take a look at their grade. And if their grade you can see what their homework scores are. If they have a lot of zeros for homework assignments, then they're not doing the assignment. So you can definitely keep track of students and make sure that they're doing all their homework and keeping up to date on that. When it comes to the homework, there's no credit given if it's incomplete. If they only did a couple of problems, if they didn't show the work for their problems, then they get a 0 for that assignment. Likewise, I do not accept late homework. If it's not done on time, if it's not here in class on the day that it's due at the beginning of class, then they get a 0 for that. I do not accept late homework. If a student is absent, then I expect the day that they get back, I expect that they have the assignment that they would have turned in had they not been absent. So like, let's say that a student is absent on a Wednesday. When they come back on a Friday, I expect them to have completed the assignment that everybody else had completed on Wednesday. And then the new material that they were absent for, then they have some time to make that up. Although, as you'll find in a moment, there's actually a way for students, even if they're absent, to not lose any time to see exactly what they missed before they even come back to school. But I'll get to that in just a minute. This class is really important for students to stay organized. A lot of definitions. Geometry is based a lot on definitions and properties and diagrams and symbols and all this stuff. Organization is really important. Now, if you have a student who has trouble keeping themselves organized, maybe they lose papers, maybe papers get shuffled around and they can't keep track of stuff, that's fine. I completely understand that, but there are ways to avoid that. And the way that I recommend is a spiral notebook. A spiral notebook is great. Students never turn in homework to me. I'll talk about that in a minute. I guess I won't. So homework they never have to turn in. I check it off while they're correcting the answers, so they don't have to tear anything out. They never have to turn in their notes. They never have to tear anything out of their notebook for me. So if they use a spiral notebook or a composition book, is the same idea. It's all there. It's all in order. They can't get anything lost. And so it's a really, really good way for students to keep themselves organized if they need that extra little help. Also, calculators are really important. All students need a scientific calculator for this class, and I can't emphasize that enough. If a student does not own a scientific calculator, they're going to have to get one. If you need to buy a calculator, you do not need to pay more than $10, $11, $12. Go to Rite Aid, go to Walmart, go to Target. A scientific calculator should not run you more than $10 or $11 or $12. There are more expensive calculators, and if you would like to purchase those, they're graphing calculators. If you'd like to get one of those, then that's fine. But at very least a scientific calculator is necessary. And please understand that cell phones are not acceptable. Students are not allowed to use, yes, I know there are calculators built into cell phones, but students are not allowed to use those for tests or quizzes. And so for the same reason, I don't allow the students to use those during class. Just because I want them to learn how to use their calculator, and if they can't use it on the test, then I don't want them to use it in class either. If buying a calculator is an issue, and times being what they are, I can totally understand that. Students are allowed to go to the school library and check out a calculator for no cost. They just have to do it. They have to do it right away, and all they need to do is bring their ID card, show it to the library, and they will check out to the student a calculator, and they can keep it for the entire year. But the student needs to do it. If that's what your student is going to do, they need to do it right away, because again, I'm teaching the students how to use their calculators, and if they don't have them until the test day, they're not learning how to use their calculators. Now the bottom thing here, leaving class for extracurricular activities. This is something that I feel very strongly about, and this is especially true for a class that's at the end of a day. If a student has a D or an F in my class, they are not allowed to leave my class for any reason for an extracurricular activity. If a student is on a sports team and they come up to me and say, hey, I have to leave class early to catch the bus to go to the away game, and if they have a D in my class, my answer is going to be no. If they have a D or an F in my class, they should be spending more time in my class bringing their grade up. They should not be spending less time by leaving early to go to an away meet. There are no exceptions to this policy. Now, if it's for a doctor's appointment or if a parent is calling them out for whatever reason, then I have no control over that. But for extracurricular activities like clubs, like sports, like choir, like anything, if a student has a D or an F in my class, they are not allowed to leave my room early for any reason. Parents always ask me, what can I do to help my student? Number one, make sure they have a calculator. I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure they have a calculator for my class. Next, please don't call them in class. If you need to get a message to your student, and if it's urgent, call the front office. They can send a note. They can send somebody to get them, whatever, if it's an emergency. Please do not call your student during my class. Do not text your student during my class. Cell phones are distractions to the learning environment, and even if a student says, hey, my mom's trying to call me, I will say, then you'll have to talk to her after the bell rings, because cell phones are distractions. So please don't try to call your student during class. Keep up on them and make sure that they're doing their homework. I mentioned that earlier. It's a good way for you to help them out. If they need help on the homework, there are lots of resources out there. The class notes, I designed the class notes to prepare students to do the homework. So have them look through their notes and see if there's anything from the notes that will help them to do better on the homework. Also, their textbook has a lot of resources. And also, I am available outside of class. So if they need help, if they have any questions, they can come in at lunch, they can come in after school, ask me questions. I don't mind. I'm happy to work with students, but please encourage them to do that. I do use School Loop, as I mentioned earlier, so you can use School Loop. The calendar is on there. Anytime a homework assignment is a worksheet, that worksheet can be downloaded from the School Loop calendar. So if the homework is a worksheet and a student is absent, they don't need to wait until they come back to school. They can go to School Loop calendar, download the worksheet. They don't have to miss a single thing. Also, the grades are posted online on School Loop. Now, you can sign up for your own account. Parents can sign up for their own account, and I strongly encourage you to do that. That way, you can keep track of your students' grades. You can keep track of what their homework is. You never have to worry about getting the student to log in for you or sharing passwords or anything. Also, it makes it a lot easier for me to communicate directly with you instead of having to worry about the student sending on the message or whatever. Likewise, you can contact me directly from School Loop. So please sign up for your own account in addition to the one your student has. All you need is their student ID number, and you can sign up for your own account right away. The last thing is I have my own personal website, rosenmath.com. On this website, I post the lessons. Let me show you what I mean. Here's my website, rosenmath.com, and here's my email and my phone number. If you go over to Geometry and you click on Geometry, here's a list of everything that we're doing. I've got the first chapter up there, but I'll be adding chapters as we go. Please notice every homework assignment is there. Notice that any assignment that's a worksheet, you can download that as a PDF. Again, if a student is absent, they don't need to miss a thing. They can see what we did that day. They can see what the homework is. If the homework's a worksheet, they can download that worksheet and not have to fall behind. And notice that These links here, like section 1.2, this is a link. All of my lessons are on PowerPoint. I write on the PowerPoints, and I save the writing, and I put those PowerPoints right here on the website. So if a student, let's say a student had been absent on this date, they don't need to ask me what did I miss. They don't even need to borrow a friend's notes. They can come to this website, click on this link, and see the presentation, the lesson, exactly like everybody else did. This is huge. This is so useful. If a student is absent, they don't need to fall behind at all. They can see exactly what they missed without missing a beat. If there's a quiz, they can see that. If there's a test coming up, they can see that. So definitely bookmark this website, rosenmath.com. It's really, really very useful, and I strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. So that is everything that I had planned to talk about. If you need to contact me, you can either call me or email me. Again, all the information is there at rosenmath.com. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I look forward to a great year of teaching your students. Thank you so much.